Hello everybody, welcome to the Malbeefance channel. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, this is a series replay of the computer game Strategic Command American Civil War. And I am playing the Union against a computer-controlled Confederacy. For those of you that have been following along, you pretty much know what is happening. The war is really only just getting started. In game, we're September 20th, 1861. Missouri, let me zoom the map out a little bit here so you can have a look. Missouri has been liberated, and the battle against General Price's Arkansas volunteers has been pushed all the way back here to Joplin and south of Springfield. Meanwhile, Grant and his nascent Army of the Tennessee is holding out at Cairo, Illinois, while General Halleck puts together a small force that is trying to push down on the opposite side of the Mississippi to help relieve Cairo. In western Virginia, General McClellan's forces are in blocking positions to prevent a Confederate push up into the Ohio River Valley. And Generals McDowell and Banks are trying to push on Richmond and the Shenandoah Valley, but the bulk of the Confederate forces are arrayed against them, so they're not making much progress. General Butler is down here holding Fort Monroe, and as soon as I am able to get him Marine Corps reinforcements, I'm going to use him to go ahead and take Norfolk and secure the Hampton Roads. So the naval forces are stretched a bit thin. You can see federal naval forces here, and they're stretched pretty thin trying to prevent any supplies getting in to the Confederate States. But we are having some progress. We've been able to take out a couple of forts, and we have not encountered too much in the way of a Confederate Navy. Okay, so with all of that said, let's go ahead and advance the turn and see what we get as we move into episode 6 of this series replay. Kentucky prepares for war, so they're going to join the Union, and Union warships still blockading Norfolk. War Department reports progress in ironclad development up to 49%. Union develops field telegraph level 1. That helps with leaders attached to units attached to leaders, and infantry tactics up to 93%. Union develops logistics level 3, so that helps with supply distribution. There is our ledger for the up and coming turn, still importing foreign weapons, so we're still getting the production point benefit for that. So now the computer calculating supply for the Confederates in the upcoming turn. Alright, so we got some forces shifting around, mostly in northern Virginia, but all across the battle areas. Oh, meeting engagement there. And the attempt to break out of Carthage. Oh yeah, please leave that regiment there where I can get at it. Alright, so an Indian cavalry unit took back Honey Springs. And there we go. There's more of the Confederate Virginia forces that I was expecting to see. All right, so Kentucky joins the Union. So hopefully I'll get some forces to deploy pretty quickly so I can get them in there. Apache warriors raid settlements in the New Mexico territory. All right, this is something I have not figured out how to stop. The pro-Confederate bushwhackers causing disruption in Missouri. This hits like almost every turn, and it'll hit like a dozen different towns, and I just can't figure out how to stop it. Union warships blockading Norfolk. And there is our report of convoy disruption. Yeah, so you would think that if I deployed garrisons in Missouri, it would cut down on the occasion of the bushwhackers. But it doesn't seem to do anything because there are no nodes for rebels or anything like that in Missouri. So there's our military activity summary. Okay, so another decision point. Do I wish to attack Port Royal Sound? Now, this is just like with Cape Hatteras. Intelligence has discovered that the island is not particularly well defended, and we can take it and set up a naval base, and that will allow us to better blockade Charleston. So yes, I definitely want to do that. So Samuel DuPont leads the Union forces to victory in the Battle of Port Royal. And so we go ahead and we collect the island, get control of the port, and that gives me a resupply point for along the Atlantic coast, the southern Atlantic coast. All right, so here's my reinforcements, a bunch of gunboats. Stick him right on top of the transfer point to the Mississippi River. Because I'm going to send at least 2 more gunboats I'm going to need down there so that I can go ahead. I need to take out this fort is what I'm aiming for. So right now I can't take out the fort and blockade both supply lines at the same time. So check their supply. So those guys are good. Move over to the New Mexico territories. So I've just got these guys holding the line as they wait for reinforcements to get down to them. Now there's more scripted reinforcements coming for out here in the New Mexico territories. They're going to pop up in a couple of turns, and then also there is a what's called the California column. California Governor Dewey puts together actually a pretty decent-sized force, and eventually the decision point's going to come up to whether you want them to aim for Fort Bowie in order to enter the map here near Texas, or they will go for I believe it's Denver, and they'll come out up here somewhere, or Santa Fe over here. I don't remember which one. I always have them come out at Fort Bowie, so I don't remember where they would come out up here. But you get to make that choice. And so with all those forces together, I should be able to turn the Confederate forces here in the New Mexico territories, push them all the way back, take El Paso, and push them out of this area. All right, so since we're on this side of the map, so let's go ahead and see if there's anything we can do about Carthage. Doesn't look like it. Those odds aren't great. So we'll just move him here so that I can start closing this noose and cut him off. In the meantime, ahead and spread them out a little bit so they can keep an eye on possible incursions. The occasional brigade trying to slip their way up there. Reinforce General Halleck's, what I'm calling the Army of the Mississippi. Now, General Grant and his nascent Army of the Tennessee, let's see what we can do to relieve Cairo. And at the same time, cut off the guys up here in the Cape. Okay. So now the gunboat, or excuse me, the timberclad. So I'm short on forces over here. So hopefully I'll get some forces deploying at the end of this turn. I'll be able to get them out here and reinforce, because there's going to be more brigades. Excuse me. There's going to be more brigades coming up. And General Grant and General Halleck, they just do not have enough forces right now to hold the line. Now I'm getting lucky with the computer moving these 3 brigades up here. They've already lost one up here at St. Genevieve, and now they've got these 3 that are in danger of being cut off and eliminated. And that would go a long way to helping out my position here in the convergence of the Ohio and Mississippi rivers. All right, so nothing going on down here in Western Virginia, but what I can do is go ahead and finish my advance to occupy the cities in Western Virginia. Now, over here in Northern Virginia, let's see if I can get this regiment. Yes. Yeah, I need victories where I can get them right now. So oh, that was actually a pretty good exchange. All right, let's see if we can get him. Yes, awesome. That is a big help. All right, so we took out the regiment, we took out one of the brigades. Now, yeah, you see this nice big hole in their line here, but the thing is, it's very rough terrain. This is forest on top of mountains, and so it's difficult for my guys to get through here, and I also don't have a lot of supply, and it would also extend my line. If there's a major force coming up through the Shenandoah Valley, I really don't have anything to stop it. So right now, really all I'm trying to do here in Northern Virginia is hold this line while creating as many casualties as possible, just to try and keep the Confederates off balance if possible. All right, so now this frigate up here has been upgraded. That's something that you didn't get to see in the last turn. I had actually forgotten all about it. At the end of the turn, I had realized that frigate was still up here, and I had not upgraded him. So after I had ended the previous turn, I just went and upgraded his engines. And so now he's on his way down here. So we've got Cape Hatteras. He's been able to stop and resupply. So I can bring him down here off of Wilmington. And now that we have Port Royal, I can transfer units down here. Now, unfortunately, I was not able to get him all the way down here to block that supply route, which is actually important because Spain is running supplies in through here. And I didn't mention it earlier, but let me go over it real quickly. The Confederate side, the Confederate faction has you get to choose which one of the three European powers um, you want to pick to try and get to support the Confederacy, join the war against the Union. Okay, United Kingdom, France, or Spain. And whichever one of those you pick, their um, mobilization percentage tends to go up a little bit faster than the others. And one of the ways that I can do to try and keep that increase at bay is I've got to be blocking those particular supply routes, convoy routes coming in. So one of the reasons why I need to get more ships down there. But I've got a lot of ships scripted to come in on the game. I don't have to actually purchase a lot of ocean-going vessels, um, but I do need to purchase a lot of river vessels. All right, so enough about that. We've got 350 in research and development we can spend. So logistics is doing pretty good. We're about to make a breakthrough in infantry equipment. And I believe leadership and infantry tactics as well. So let's get started on cavalry equipment. That leaves me a 100. And I really ought to save it. The only thing experimental balloons does for me is it increases the balloon's line of sight, and I'm able to build one more balloon unit. I use the balloons for garrison duties where the rebel units could pop up. That's what I've been using them for, and then I really don't need fort modifications. So. And then I could also split it between buoyancy tanks and experimental submarines, but the submarines, they're novelties in this game. To me, they're novelties. They don't really do much. They don't have a lot of, they don't do a lot of damage. They don't have a lot of firepower. Maybe I'm not employing them right. Who knows? But they just don't do a lot for me, so I don't spend the production on them. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to use what's left now. I said I needed to get Marine Corps divisions. I wanted to get more Marines out there. Um, we've got a number of divisions coming along. I would like to get more, but for right now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to try and punch out as many Marines as I can because I need to get Norfolk. That'll go a long way to helping slow down the mobilization of the European powers. So there's two divisions, divisions. And there's a third. So that leaves me enough for another river ironclad. I cannot have too many of those. And let me go ahead and show you why, if you haven't already figured it out. There's one reason there. That's 2. That's 3. And that's 4. So, taking out these two particular ports, they are also fighting spirit objectives, and they help with the 4 hex rule for getting near Nashville. Because even if it's a gunboat, river boat, as long as I can get them down there, as long as I can get something closer to Nashville in order to help curtail European mobilization and the loss of fighting spirit on the Union side. Okay, so that is going to do it for this turn. Let's go ahead and advance a turn and see what we get. And so there they go. Those gunboats transfer to the Mississippi. They'll be there in 2 turns. Union again on my 2 frigates here blockading the Hampton Roads. So it's doing economic damage to the city. Union develops infantry equipment level 1. There we go. And infantry tactics level 1. There's our ledger for next turn. So we're not getting the overseas armaments anymore. So that's 200 production points I don't get anymore. Computer's calculating supply. All right, so now that Kentucky is in the war, I should see some Confederate advances coming up from Nashville. So there was one advance coming up from Decatur along the peninsula heading towards Cairo. Or excuse me, Dresden, not Decatur. Sorry about that. Trying to restore supply coming up to these units. And then that gunboat shooting all the way up there. I'm not sure who is surrounding who here. All right, so fighting on Northern Virginia front. Fighting around Cairo. And do we see any more? Yep, so there's an advance up towards Glasgow in Kentucky. And there's General Polk advancing with his forces into southern Kentucky. The New Mexico force is spreading out. That brigade suffers attrition losses. So does that one. Okay, so I need to remember to strike while the iron is hot. If these guys are running out, if they're out of supplies and taking damage from it, then that means they have a debuff on their defense. All right, so here's the bushwhackers again. Just all over the state. And the end of the Confederate turn. So there's my blockade runners interfering with convoys. All right, so here's our activity summary. And here we go. All right, so the first of the infantry divisions is coming out. All right, so we get the Far S Division. And I'll tell you what, none too soon. So we'll go ahead and... Now, I know I originally said that I was going to deploy them over by Cairo, but Kentucky joined the war effort a turn sooner than I was anticipating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the battle plan to go ahead and deploy these infantry divisions here in northern Kentucky so that I can block General Polk's advance. So in the beginning here, I'm going to try and have them work in pairs. So Lunar B and Far S, they deploy here at Frankfurt, and Preschlock and Dino Division will deploy at Louisville. The Baron de Kalb River Ironclad I'll deploy over here at Evansville, and then next turn when I get more infantry divisions, I'll deploy them around Evansville. And hopefully I'll have one that I can deploy down here to Cairo. In the meantime, unfortunately he did not do any damage, and they only did one. Okay, so we do eliminate that brigade. And since they're kind of handing me that gunboat on a silver platter, unfortunately he didn't do any damage. Alright, so upgrade the infantry, or these little regiments. Take the time to go ahead and do that. Let's move Halleck closer. Unfortunately, that is all I can do here. Over here with General Freeman's forces, I'm going to take the opportunity to upgrade. Now, before I get too carried away, let me make sure I got enough production points to double up on the next level of infantry equipment. Alright, so I want to get General Fremont closer to these forces so that he can help support them out with supply and all. Right now, as you can see, I don't know how well you can see it, but here's General Freeman's area, his coverage area. Yeah, they still don't have really good odds. So I'm going to hold off another turn. Can do this, though. Keep him from retreating. And I can upgrade these two garrisons. Alright, so that is pretty much going to do it for those areas. Now over here to what I refer to as the Far West Territory. Now originally, or I should say historically, get him out here so he can spot a little bit. Can I upgrade him? Nope. Alright, so in that case let's move him on. What about him? Yes, I can upgrade him. So let's take the opportunity to do that. Alright, so let me zoom out here. Historically, the Union divided the conflict area into the eastern and western territories or campaigns, and then the Far West territories. For my purposes, I have the Eastern Theater, the Central Theater, and then the Western Theater, and then the Far West Theater. That's basically how I'm looking at it when I have to decide how am I going to allocate resources, just in case anybody was interested in knowing. Alright, so down here in the Gulf of America off the Mississippi, so their supply is okay. And how are we doing here? So that's for blockade runners. He's still at 8. He's still at 8. Get him down here on that convoy line. Alright, do I have anybody else I can move down there? Yes. He can make it all the way to Cape Hatteras. Awesome. Sabine makes it almost. Alright, anybody else? No, I think I got all the ships. Okay. Alright, so now on to Northern Virginia. So what I would really like to do is upgrade all of my brigades here. So let's go ahead and reinforce those guys. And all the folks that are not in contact with an enemy unit, I'll go ahead and upgrade them. Everybody else gets reinforced. Also, if anybody's interested, so I consider General Banks to have General Banks has the Army of the Potomac, while General McDowell has the Army of the Shenandoah. Historically, the Union named their armies after major rivers in the theater of operations that they were in. General McClellan obviously has the Army of the Ohio. General Pope, when his unit deploys, he will have the Army of the Cumberland. And then General Grant already has the Army of the Tennessee, General Halleck, the Army of the Mississippi, and then General Fremont, the Army of the Arkansas. So just in case anybody was curious about how I'm organizing this stuff, that's how it's working. Okay, so that looks like everything as far as upgrades and all of that is concerned. Going back to research, I still have 250 that I can put into it. So I'm thinking of doing cavalry equipment. That certainly is important. So there we go. Okay, so that maxes out research again. I've got 265 left, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this brigade. It's the last one that I can build, and I am going to name it after a special request from one of our subscribers. So they are named after the 125th Michigan National Guard unit. Now, if I'm lucky, nope, I was hoping I'd still have enough left over for the Rangers. All right, so that brings me down to 45 production points left over. We'll bank those. And that is pretty much going to do it for this episode. If you've made it this far, please remember to leave a like and a comment. If you have any questions, by all means, go ahead and ask them. I'll be happy to respond as soon as I see them. And if you have not done so already, please remember to subscribe. Share this video with somebody that you think may be interested in this content. And, well, thank you again, and I will see you on the next one.